Raheem, congratulations on the goal. I'm sure it's bittersweet in everything that happened, but Greg was pretty emotional whenever he came in here and said, this is one of the toughest seasons he's ever endured. How do you see it from your perspective?
Yeah, pretty much the same. A lot went into the season. A lot of stuff happened. Players injured, starters injured, protests, all that. A lot of stuff went into the season. So, nonetheless, no excuses. Disappointing season. Can't happen again. This is Galaxy. Period.
You guys have missed the playoffs last 2 out of 3 years, right? This is again. I talked to Greg about 9 teams make the playoffs. Yeah. This feels like a gigantic miss whenever you're not in the playoffs.
Exactly. They opened up 2 more spots. It used to be 7, now it's 9. So, yeah, abysmal year. End of story.
Hey, Raheem, thanks for your time. Obviously, this year, a lot of season-ending injuries, but specifically for your leaders, Javier, Martin, Gaston. I mean, was it hard in the locker room at times to maybe find that big voice?
Yeah and no. I think there's a lot of personality in our locker rooms where guys could take, the role or the shift in terms of leadership. But yeah, those guys are still nonetheless big misses in the locker room and on the field too as well. So yeah, as I said before, it was tough, but yeah, not too much.
I guess maybe for you personally, I mean, I think every player has had their ups and downs this year. For you, what's something maybe mentally that you've been able to grow on as the season's progressed?
Don't quite understand that question. I just, in terms of my season, I think it was up and down, good and bad, a little bit bad. But yeah, you have to be honest. You got to look yourself in the mirror and say it's not good enough. Period. Was not good enough. Backline wasn't good enough. Team wasn't good enough. End of story. I don't look for excuses. I look myself in the mirror. I blame myself more than I blame anyone else. So, yeah, I just got to get better for next year because it's not acceptable at all.
Hey, Raheem, you look back to the beginning of the season with the protests and the distractions. Did that bother you guys more than you guys probably led on it?
Yeah, it did. It definitely did. It definitely did. It affected some guys in the locker room. Obviously, the coaching staff and the higher ups too. Obviously, it takes a little, it takes a little off of us and whatnot. But yeah, it did distract us a little bit. But nonetheless, it shouldn't really equate to having a season like we had. Because it's not the protests; it's guys on the field that are playing. Whether there's 10 fans here or 1,000 fans here, like we need to do our job. And quite frankly, we did not do our job at all this season.
How did Leagues Cup impact this season? And I'm thinking more in terms of if you look, because the seasons that you've played, how much different did it make this season? How much more difficult did it make this season?
Well, it depends. It depends. Yeah.
Also in terms of how it impacted the other parts of the season.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. For us, it was pretty. We were pretty fortunate enough to have 2 home games and not having to travel anywhere. But those games could be good or it could be bad. It could be reps for guys that don't usually play much. But I think if I could recall or remember, we pretty much played a really strong team in both games. So, yeah, it's a lot. It's extra games, obviously, which some guys don't like it, some people don't like it. But yeah, I don't really know how the Leagues Cup affected anything. To be fair.
I guess the way that it most affected is that you had to play so many games early to where you were having to play twice a week early in the season. Whereas in the past,
Yeah.
you would play once a week.
Yeah, it's true. True.
And it compressed
Yes.
the start and the back of the season.
Yeah, you're right. You're actually right. When thinking back about that, yeah. So it's a lot of compactness, a lot of like playing, and which our guys that are from this league are not really used to. This is the way soccer's trending now. It's gonna be more and more games. So just have to be on top of it. That's it.
You show that to us, or what exactly that?
Yeah, that's the Lars Player of the Year. These guys, they basically said that all my hard work that I do, and I always acknowledge them after the game. So I want to give a shout out to Lars, and yeah, it's a nice little token, obviously, but nonetheless, I'm not trying to shit on them or anything. I really don't care. I'm just really pissed off about the year. Obviously, it's has to be better next year. That's it. Thank you guys.